Tonight we're starting on Deuteronomy chapter 1. And I see I misspelled it. Deuteronomy. Oh well, that's alright. Spell check didn't check it, I guess. Or I got something wrong here, it looks like. I don't know. Anyway. Moses remembers the journey from Israel, from Mount Sinai to Kadesh Barnea. We did Numbers, before Mark we did Numbers. And the whole time we talked about Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, that took 39 years, okay? This chapter 1 is going to take 2 months. I mean, that's the time period it goes across. Basically, 2 months before they go into from the Jordan, cross the Jordan and start invading. But it's a remembrance. The Deuteronomy, they said the name, actually they said it says second law. Well, it's a rehearsal of the law. It's kind of more second telling, okay, of the law is what you want to call it. But why would we want to have to go over the law again with these people?
So they don't forget.
For they don't forget, but who was here 40 years before that? Their mom and dads.
Oh yeah.
Their mom and dads are gone. This is a whole new generation. Only three people that's been there the whole time is Moses, Joshua, and Caleb. All the others have died because of the wanderings, and we're going to talk about that more as we go through this. But that's why Moses felt like it was time to rehearse all this again, go over it. These people haven't heard it for themselves. They were either little children or not there at all, because everybody's below 40 besides those three. There's nobody that's over 40 years old besides those three that we listed other. So Deuteronomy 1 and 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side of Jordan, in the wilderness, in the plain, over against the Red Sea, between Paran, Tophel, Laban, and Hazeroth, and Dizabah. Now I did include, when we talked about it before on the Exodus, a map, and I've got a map again on the back, and you can kind of take a look at it and see. Kadesh Barnea, it talks about from Mount Sinai to Kadesh Barnea. Now, they have several, if you look it up, they're not really sure where Sinai's at. Okay? They've got several mountains that could be it. I'm just telling you what I found, okay? If you look down at the tip of Saudi Arabia, what we call Saudi Arabia, and then go across the Red Sea, there's 2 dots.
Yeah. 2 red dots.
2 red dots, and then over a blue triangle, okay, just right of that. It says Horeb, 2,385 meters. Horeb is a mountain. Okay, the blue triangles are mountains. So that mountain, they think, because they do interchange the name, Mount Horeb and Mount Sinai. So, and it's the same place, but they're still not sure. See, there's another blue triangle down here at Migdal. They call it a watchtower. There's another blue triangle up here at Mount Musa. Could be, they say Sinai. And then there's other blue triangles up north, but they really don't come into play. But if you would say it's on that one on the right side, down in the lower right corner, that Horeb, up to Kadesh Barnea, that's straight above it. Okay, you see that now? They take a circuitous route through there. But that's kind of the route they're taking. And that's what they took at the beginning, and they went all the way up across from Jericho, and that's where they were going to invade okay, and start conquering the land, and the people rebelled, so they had to come back down, and then they wandered around here for 40 years. Now they would move one place, stay there many years, and then move to another. So you can kind of look at that as a guidepost as we go through here. Kind of tell us, like I said, I tried to look up some of these others. It says in the plain against the Red Sea. Well, that if you look at that one Horeb there, you could say that's a plain out there, because mountain's always on the side of it and it goes down, but they said that's kind of rocky in there. There's not a whole lot in there, so that's most likely not the Red Sea. That Red Sea is actually the word suph, S-U-P-H, and it means reed. Okay? So they're not saying the Red Sea or the Reed Sea. Some people have said that. That's where they crossed, at the Reed Sea. But it was a place of marshes. Okay? Cattails, brushes, things like that. We don't know where that's at, because we don't know where these others are at either. Exactly. Paran, Tophel, Laban, Hazareth, and Jezebel.
Pinpoint maybe the area.
Yeah, and that's what we know. They traveled on this side, because the Red Sea's here. They couldn't have gone across back over here. They went up this side. If you see the Kenites, Edomites, Moabites, and Ammonites, and Ambrites, and all those ites up there, that yellow line is pretty much the Jordan, where the Jordan Valley is at. And they didn't cross the Jordan Valley. So we know they're on the east side or the right side of where that's at. Kind of in between the red, where the red line is. So it's somewhere in that over there. That's kind of where they journeyed back and forth.
Well, at least they knew where they were.
Well, they went where they were told, yeah. Now, it had been 400 years since they had been to Canaan. They hadn't been to Canaan at all, but 400 years since Jacob came. Joseph was sold into slavery, and he went down there, and all his brothers came to buy grain. Remember the story back in Genesis. Then Joseph lived there. He was the second to Pharaoh, and there was 400 years between that time and then they became slaves. And now God's sending them back. God made a promise to Abraham. He made a promise to Isaac. He made a promise to Jacob. All these three, that they're going to have a lineage that's going to be special. It's going to be God's people. So now he's sending them back, okay, 400 years later to this area. And that's what they're talking about. I don't know if you remember, but when I showed some of the slides that we had, it calls this there are several places on that map called wilderness of sin, Zin, wilderness of Paran, wilderness of this. There's just not a lot there. It's kind of like a desert. I mean, what we would think is a desert. If you go out to the Panhandle and keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, kind of like out there. Even they have some sagebrush and stuff. There's not that much there. There's not much there out there.
I'm a little bit here one side, but one side I don't. Go ahead.
Said they came on a long, difficult journey from Egypt. More long because of their unbelief, of course. And then it talks about the second law, where I was telling you Deuteronomy says about where they first heard the law, Mount Sinai. Now Moses compelled them to remind them, because they're getting ready to enter into the promised land. And all those people had been not there. I mean, they were new. They hadn't heard these things. Now they know it because it was passed down, but they hadn't heard it from Moses. So he's trying to do this on a new generation. And hopefully this new generation would obey God better than the old generation would. They kept saying they wanted to go back to Egypt. They wanted to eat, the leeks and the onions and stuff like that they said. It was just kind of crazy, the things that they were saying, because the Lord was providing them with manna, with quail, provided them with water, all these things. Kind of goes through it. Deuteronomy is a really special book, because Jesus called on it 3 times when Satan tempted him. And it shows us there in one of the times, it shows all of them. Deuteronomy 8, Deuteronomy 6, where Jesus was tempted, he repeated the words that Moses had wrote down. Shall not live by bread alone, shall not tempt the Lord your God, and you shall fear the Lord your God and serve him. It's one of the oldest of the great books of the Old Testament. It was a completion of Moses' work. Moses wrote the first five books. Okay? Now the very last part of Deuteronomy, Moses didn't write because it says he died. And I know he's good, but he's not that good. Probably Joshua or something put a little couple of paragraphs in there right at the end that said Moses died and he was, carried away, did all this, and we'll read about that when we get there. Okay, down at the bottom, Brother Epson, 2 through 4.
This is the journey from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea.
Mm-hmm.
They're 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Sire unto Kadesh Barnea. Okay. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel according unto all that the Lord had given him in commandment unto them. And after he had slain Sihon and the king of the Amorites, which dwelt in Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan, which dwelt at Ashtaroth in Edrei.
Okay. You have to go back and remember Og was the king, I think, have to go back and think, when Balak and Balaam, Balak was king, but Balaam, in that particular time, that's where they were called upon the Balaam to try to curse Israel, so they could go down and whip them. Now it said it's only 11 days journey from there to there where they went, but it took them 40 years. That's a pretty poor timing there. I mean, as far as what they're concerned. Now and it's all because they wouldn't do what God told them to do. And he's going to go into this in a little bit. It says, Israel's great fear when they first came to Kadesh Barnea and the opportunity to enter the promised land was that they would be crushed by the military prowess of the Canaanites. But when the new generation trusted God and went forward, God immediately gave them victory over 2 pagan kings. The victory was ready as soon as Israel was ready to receive its faith. Okay, Iris, the next one there in the middle, number 5, says, it's on number 3, but it's Deuteronomy 1 and 5.
Number 3, Deuteronomy 1
Yeah.
and 5.
Yeah.
5, on this side Jordan, in the land of Moab, began Moses to declare this law, saying,
Okay.
on this side of the Jordan.
That's okay. That's all there is. It's just that short verse.
Okay.
And he's always telling, he's getting ready to just tell the law. Now it took he was up on the mountain 40 days to get this law and get all the laws, okay, that they had. So that's why it's going to take a couple of months. He doesn't do all this in one day, but he does it in a period of time over this, and he reminds them. So we'll see as we go through this time period that we have, what he's explaining to them. And again, the Hebrew word translated explain comes from the ideas to dig deeply or to mine. Moses will mine out the riches of God's truth to the people and prepare them as they get ready to enter into Canaan. Okay, down at the bottom, Bertha, 6 through 8.
The Lord our God speaking to us in Horeb, saying, "You have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn you and take your journey, and go to the mount of Amorites, and into all these places nigh thereunto, in the plain, in the hills, and in the vales, and in the south, and by the seaside, to the land of Canaanites, and to Lebanon, and to the great river, the river of Euphrates. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which the Lord swore unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give unto them and to their seed after them."
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's telling them, you've been here long enough. Been here 40 years, basically.
Go.
I mean, that's there. Yeah, it's time to go. Because after, the time they had been there, and it took them about a year to get there from the Egypt, okay, with all the things that happened in among them. But when they got there, the guys refused. And we'll read that in the last piece of it, of this chapter.
Why would they refuse? Because it's God speaking to them.
Well, why does anybody refuse God? They're not listening.
That's so
Okay? We see that today. God's telling a lot of people, should be telling, he's telling everybody, but there's a lot of people not listening.
I guess so, but, we don't look at it that way, we look at it as, why would we disobey God or not listen?
Well, they disobeyed God a lot in that 40 years.
I know.
The spirit and the flesh.
Yeah, that's just what he talked about last Sunday. It's two different things.
True.
So it says, take your journey, get ready to head that way. It says Galatians 4 and 12 and Hebrews 12 symbolically identify Mount Sinai with the Old Covenant. Okay? The works and the law. The Christian, it is important to spend some time under the law as a tutor so we know the holy character of God and need our Savior. Our need as a Savior. But God never intended the Christians to live their spiritual life at Mount Sinai. They wanted to go over to the Promised Land. That's where God was heading to. Okay? Verse 9. And I spake unto you at the time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone. The Lord your God hath multiplied you, and behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven for the multitude. For the Lord God of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you as he hath promised you. How can I myself alone bear your cumbrance and your burden and your strife? Take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. And ye answered me and said, the thing which thou hast spoken is good for us to do. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, captains over hundreds, captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribe. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with him. Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is God's. And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things which ye should do. So he's telling them, how many went into Egypt with Joseph and them? You remember? 70. 12 brothers, their wives, and the kids they had. And their father, their old father, and Joseph and his 2 kids was down there. So you had 70 that came down. And if you remember, during Numbers, we said there's over 600,000 men, fighting men. So they're estimating, with women and children and everything, about 2 million people. So you go from 70, it took 400 years, but 70 to 2 million people, almost, in 400 years. Now, you gotta remember their lifetimes was a little bit longer than ours. Abraham lived to 175, Moses lived to 120. So, 120 years, if you divide that by the 400, that's just, you know, a little over 3 lifetimes, 3 generations. So, I started doing my ancestry, and I started out with me and my wife, okay? Just us two. I went back on my side, started doing all that, went forward on my side, and me and Darla's side, and then went back on Darla's side. I've got about 3,000 people right now in my tree.
How long ago? I mean, how far back?
Some of them go as far back because I don't go all the way. I'm trying to take just the main ones as far as who's my great, or whatever, grandfather, grandmother. But you go in there and you take, because you find some more information, you take their brothers and sisters that's out on these sides, that adds a lot more information. And if you start looking at it. So that's why it gets so crazy. And then you go back just a generation, and not even a generation now, but you go back a generation or two, and the lifespan wasn't very long. Some of the men had 2, 3, 4 wives. Some of the wives had 2 or 3 husbands. Yeah, because things happen. I mean, there's farming and a lot of stuff. And, you know.
Well, just look at the United States, 250-something years old.
Right.
And we went from a handful.
Right.
You know,
a boatload in the Mayflower.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah. I don't know how many we got, 7 million now?
Yeah, something like
250 years? Oh, over 250 years,
Yeah.
but still, that's exactly what it is. It can grow quickly.
After about 3 or 4 generations, it
explodes. It's popping.
We go from 2 to 4 to
Well,
8.
yeah, that's
Or the
exponential.
grandparents.
That's exponential, but see, like my mom, I mean, she had 2 kids, but her mom had 9 kids. And her mom, and well, actually her grandfather, because he had 2 wives, had like 15 kids. And you just keep going back like that, and some of them you see, I had one great aunt. She died at 21 because typhoid fever came around and killed, her and one of her babies and all that stuff. So anyway.
My daughter's it's true, I hate to do hers. Her grandmother had 21 kids. All her kids, I'm going like, I'm not researching that one.
Just gets into it. But this is what he did. He was trying to take care at the time of all these people. And he didn't have time. So that's why his father-in-law told him, you need to put somebody in charge, some intermediaries. That's where he's talking about here. I'm reminding you, I set these people up. God told me this is a good thing. You go do it. Set this up. So he put rooters over thousands, hundreds, tens, and then officers that took care of the business in there. But if there's anything too tough, you come back to me. That's kind of what he's saying, because I'll take it to God. When we can't figure it out ourselves or go upon the laws that God's given us, then I'll go back to God.
Wow.
Okay, 19 at the bottom, page 5, Brother Everson.
And when we departed from Horeb, we went through all the great, terrible wilderness, which you saw by the way of the mountain of the Amorites, as the Lord God commanded us. And we came to Kadesh Barnea, and I said unto you, you are come unto the mountain of the Amorites, which the Lord our God doth give unto us. Behold, the Lord thy God hath set the land before thee. Go up and possess it, as the Lord God of thy fathers hath said unto thee. Fear not, neither be discouraged.
Okay, so that's where he's telling them that's God gave them let's go out and conquer the land. You've gone this far, you go up there, cross over the river, you start to go crossing the land. But that's not what they did. Okay? They started looking at it, and it was having all these things coming upon them, and they got a little scared. 22, Iris?
What?
22 and 23, middle of page 6.
Okay. And ye came near unto me, every one of you, and said, We will send men before us, and they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again by what way we must go up, and into what cities we shall come. And the saying pleased me well, and I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe.
Okay, so you have to look at this, and then go back and look at the verses before, okay, back in Numbers. It's the same time, but it's telling a little bit different. What Numbers said that they brought up, and they kind of thought that it was a good idea to do this. God didn't tell them to do this. Right here, it tells us, and ye came near unto me, every one of you, and said, we will send men before us. Okay, so it's a little different. We kind of talked about this in Numbers, that it wasn't really God's idea. God told them to do something, didn't he? Up there and above, in those verses above. Go take the land. Go take the land. I'll be with you. They had another idea. Let's go check it out a little bit before we go over. Moses said, that's a pretty good idea. But he didn't talk to God. When he did, God said, well, if you're going to do that, at least send one representative from each of the tribes. So put those two verses together, those sets, back in Numbers and this one, and you get the whole story. Okay? Because Moses agreed to it. God said, all right. Because, you go back to the other story and said, okay, God said this. And that's why they came out with 12 spies, because they wanted to get a balanced opinion, hopefully, of this. It says there wasn't really any compelling reason to send the spies. God told them the land was good, but they wanted to go see for themselves. They wanted to go. God told them something, but they didn't do it. Here again, it's getting back into that flesh.
It's almost like they didn't hear what he said.
Well, they hear it, but they don't like it. They've been sitting for 40 years. They kind of like that. Yeah, we're out here in the wilderness. Nobody's really bothering us. Okay, yeah. But now God's telling them, okay, you messed around here long enough. Time to get going. Okay, verse 24, Bertha, on page 7.
Moses remembers the journey and report of the spies, and they turned and went up into the mountain and came into the valley of Eagle.
That's cool, yeah.
Okay. And searched it out. And they took of the fruit of the land in their hands, and brought it down unto us, and brought us word again, and said, It is good land which the Lord our God doth give us.
Okay. So they brought this back. They brought the good stuff back. Moses doesn't tell them, because all the guys are gone. They've forgotten. He didn't mention the evil report of the 10 spies, that they said they couldn't go. Okay, that happened back then, and these guys either forgot it or they didn't know about it, but he's just not telling them that. See, this is what God told us to do. They came back. God told us it's good land. These guys are telling us it's good land. Let's go. But he said, in addition to that, all the 12 spies were united on saying, it is a good land which the Lord our God is giving us. But, okay, but that was the big thing. There are people that's out there that's bigger than us. That's what it goes back. It talks about in Numbers.
These giant people.
The giants, yeah.
Well, and don't you think that because they didn't listen to God, they kinda wasted time on.
Well, yeah, 40 years.
I mean, when he told them to go, and they wanted to go inspect the land themselves,
Mm-hmm.
don't you think they also wasted time then?
Well, that's what got them the 40 years.
Yeah.
If they had gone and done what they would have been over there and celebrating for 40 years.
You know, wonder what, have you ever messed up down the road, you thought, oh man, here, when Moses said that it pleased me, wonder how many times over the 40 years he said,
He thought about
oh man,
that,
I
yeah.
regret that, oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Verse 26, notwithstanding, ye would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of the Lord your God. Ye murmured in your tents, and said, because the Lord hated us, he hath brought us forth out of the land of Egypt, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us. Whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying, the people is greater and taller than we. The cities are great, walled up to heaven. Moreover, we have seen the sons of Anakim there. Then I said unto you, dread not, neither be afraid of them. The Lord your God, which goeth before you, he shall fight for you, according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes. And he's telling them, look, you came out of Egypt. I got you out of Egypt. What did I do to get you out of Egypt? Did 10 plagues to get them out. And in the wilderness, where thou hast seen how that the Lord thy God bare thee, as a man doth bear his son, and all the way that you went until you came into this place. It was that. I provided you food, I provided you water, I provided you this, I provided you that. Yet in this thing ye did not believe the Lord your God, who went in the way before you, to search you out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you what way you should go, and in a cloud by day. God was with them the whole time. They didn't have to worry about which way to go. That when that cloud appeared and was set in the fire and separated the Egyptians from them, it followed them the whole time. 40 years later. It could have been just, like I said, just a little over a year as they got into the promised land, but it didn't. I mean, they didn't, because they followed it around. Whenever the cloud went up, they would move. Whenever the cloud came down, they would stop and build camp. Said, essentially the 10 spies and all Israel said, we went into the land of Canaan and found it to be a wonderful land, just as the Lord said it would be. God's word was true on that point. Nevertheless, we don't believe God when he says he will enable us to overcome the enemies of the land and to possess it. So that's what they were saying. They wouldn't believe God. You would not go up, but rebelled. God had done nothing but show himself faithful to Israel. They could not point to one instance where he had let them down. Though the journey hadn't been easy, yet they answered God's faithfulness with rebellion, murmuring, and unbelief. They were not persuaded of the love of God, and they found it hard to trust a God they did not believe loved them. Christians today also need to be persuaded of the love of God. Many believers are hindered in their walk with God because they are not genuinely persuaded of the love of God for them. They should ask, what would it take to finally convince me that God really loves me? We don't wait for God to give us everything we want before we love him. That is a selfish demand of a short-sighted child, like the child who thinks mommy doesn't love me because he can't have all the candy he wants. Okay, we get that. We understand that. Tells us in Romans, but God demonstrates his own love towards us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Okay? We don't have to do anything. God's love is there. We just have to accept it. Believe it and accept it.
As Christians,
Oh, God.
we should know that,
Yeah, but
and already accept it.
I know, but how many times in your life when something didn't happen that you didn't like?
I didn't like it.
Yeah, that you didn't like, and you thought, well, God didn't help me there. God's not doing. God didn't say it's going to be easy, did he? but it's that way. Sometimes things get in our path and things happen to people and things, we don't understand it, but we still have to trust God knows what's going on. Tells us that God, He will fight for them, but they didn't believe it. It says, yet for all that, you did not believe the Lord your God. In essence, it was not sin that kept Israel out of the promised land. Instead, it was unbelief. Now, the unbelief was sin, okay? But it was unbelief.
Do you think disobedience is part of that too?
Well, yeah, they don't believe it, so they're not going to do it. I don't care about that. Because what did they do after and we'll read it here in just a minute. They said, oh, okay, well, if God's going to be with us and we have to march around, well, let's go beat them up now. God said, no, don't do that. But they went and did it anyway. They don't listen. They're not paying attention to what God's doing. Okay? 34 through 40, Brother Epson.
And the Lord heard the voice of your words, and was wroth, and sware, saying, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see the good land which I swear to give unto your fathers, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and he shall see it to him, and I will give the land that he trotteth upon into his children, because he hath wholly followed the Lord. Also the Lord was angry with me for your sake, saying, thou shalt also not go thither, but Joshua the son of Nun, which standeth before thee, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it. But as for me, turn you and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea.
Okay. Now you see a little bit here, he's telling them what happened. But then he's also telling them, because of you guys, I didn't get to go in either. Because I got a little out of sorts with you. And he smote the rock instead of speaking to it like God told him to do. And God told him, well, you're not setting a good example. So he didn't not, make it. He made it to the promised land. He just wasn't going into it. Here it points out Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, was the only exception. Well, they're also, in just a minute, he's going to tell you Joshua also. Those are the only two. And they were also both the two that came back with a good land. Now, the other 10 said it was a good land. All 12 of them said it's good land. But 10 of them said, yeah, I don't know if we can go over there. We're like ants, and they're, when they look at us, we're just, cities are built up to the heavens. Can you imagine that? I mean, kind of overblowing it, but they just are seeing things that really wasn't there. I mean, it was there, but God told them they could do it. So even, it says Moses himself wouldn't enter the promised land. It says, though it was not specifically said in Numbers 14, it came in later in 20. It could be inferred then, because Moses was not among the exceptions named, only Joshua and Caleb. So back in Numbers, it didn't really say that until you get a little later, when it says he's not going to go on also. As great as Moses was, and he truly was one of the giants of the Bible, he could not and would not lead Israel into the promised land. That was left up to one who came after Moses. It was Joshua. Okay? Joshua is also, his name, if you say it in Hebrew, it's Yeshua. That's also Jesus' name, Yeshua. So that's kind of, if you want to go back here again, talking about the Old Testament and the New Testament, God led him to a certain point that people wouldn't do. Now Moses can't lead them over because of that. Now a new leader's come up. And he's going to talk about that in just, well, at the end, we'll see it too. But they are going to lead, and he's the one that's going to get the credit, and he's the one that's going to get the battles and all that they said. Because they were thinking their kids was going to be victims, they were going to, you're leading us to our death, we're all going to be slaves, blah, blah, blah. Charles Spurgeon said, anything, in fact, will serve as an excuse when the heart is bent on compromise. Don't you find that today? I mean, we do that. I do that on a lawn. So, I was driving down the road the other day and had a carload of people. And I was supposed to be going to this one place. And question after question after question, I was going down there. And you guys made me miss my turn, I was trying to answer your questions. It's your fault. I didn't do it. I should have been watching, but it was trying to make up. I didn't do it. I would have done it if I was here by myself. You people wouldn't bother me. But that's the way we do. That's just that fleshly nature. Said it is sobering to consider how easily, how quickly, and how completely God sees through our excuses. We often feel confident in our excuses because other people can't really challenge them, but God sees right through them. That's hard. I mean, it's not hard. It's sobering. We need to keep that in front of us all the time. Okay, 41, Brother Epson. 46. Oh, you read? Iris?
Then he answered and said unto me, We have sinned against the Lord. We will go up and fight according to all that the Lord our God commanded us. And when ye had girded on every man his weapons of war, ye were ready to go up into the hill. And the Lord said unto me, Say unto them, Go not up, neither fight, for I am not among you, lest ye be smitten before your enemies. So I spake unto you, and ye would not hear, but rebelled against the commandment of the Lord, and went presumptuously up into the hill. And the Amorites, which dealt in that mountain, came out against you, and chased you as bees do, and destroyed you in Seir, even unto Hormah. And ye returned and wept before the Lord, but the Lord would not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. So ye abode in Kadesh many days, according unto the days that ye abode there.
You ever have a little kid playing with something and start sticking it in a light socket, and you try to tell them, quit, don't do that, but you're not always around, and it happens, they don't do it anymore, do it? Because they get shocked or whatever. I know my grandma had a floor furnace. Bill and Eileen actually does today over there. And I knew it was hot. I didn't know it was that hot. I stepped on that thing. I had that waffle pattern in my foot for a while.
And it hurt.
It hurt, yes it did, because it was not fun. So they thought they'd make up for it. Okay, we'll go, we'll go and take them by the horns now. And God's like, no, I'm not with you right now. You're not following you're not listening to me. But they went, they got whooped, just like a bunch of bees coming out. You hit a beehive, or come close to a beehive or wasp nest or something? Well, they just start pouring out of there, and they start, you're running everywhere to try to get away from them. And that's what happened here. They ran from, where was it? Seir unto Hormah. They ran a long ways before they quit fighting, quit beating them up, killing them. But God said, I wasn't with you. You didn't listen to me. You should have listened. I wasn't ready for it now. So that's kind of where we leave it for tonight.